This is home. Twin States News starts right now.
Good evening. I'm Harriet Wallace in for Ann Emanuel. Well, if you haven't had a chance to check out the Choctaw Indian Fair, the event continues through tomorrow. Some good news there. As Twin States News' Jacobus Roby reports, the fair celebrates the Choctaw Indian heritage and culture. Jacobus?
From rides and games to learning the history behind them, Cultural Affairs Coordinator Phyllis McMillan feels the 73rd Annual Fair is beneficial to the community.
It's a time of gathering of our people, coming together, fellowshipping, playing, dancing, and just having good time, a celebration.
One attraction at the fair is Tushka Village, where interns Raven McMillan and Crystal Ruth provide history of some of the games played in the village, like Rabbit Sticks and Kombucha.
Rabbit Sticks was a small hunting game for us Choctaw people. They will hunt rabbits, raccoons, and turkey with that, and it was a great food source for us people to survive on back in the day.
Kombucha's really been around for centuries. It's been around for a really long time. It's a popular sport of ours. Anybody can join a team and play. Just go out there and have fun with it.
Speaking of games played, Phyllis McMillan looks forward to the winner of the championship game as the fair comes to an end this Saturday.
They're going to get a big cultural drum, and also they'll have their bragging rights for the whole year.
And even though tomorrow is the last day of the fair, there's still plenty of activities for the family to come and enjoy. In Choctaw, Mississippi, Jacobus Roby, Twin States News.
Meridian police are reportedly investigating a case where a driver ran down and killed a goose on Bonita Lakes. These pictures of the scene yesterday were posted to Facebook by the Scotty Ray Report. It was reported that the driver of a pickup truck may have hit the goose on purpose. Information on social media says there were suspects detained and that Mississippi Game and Fish officers were brought in to help investigate the goose case at Bonita Lakes. A Mississippi man was arrested on felony charges accusing him of targeting Pennsylvania synagogues and Jewish-owned businesses by calling them some as many as 15 times and making anti-Semitic threats. 28-year-old Donovan Parrish of Hattiesburg was charged June 27th with cyber stalking and communicating interstate threats in an indictment unsealed Thursday. Parrish could be sentenced up to 50 years in prison and a $2.5 million fine if convicted. And here's another example of problems caused by heavy rain in the Twin States area. Take a look at these pictures posted to Facebook. Terry Wynn took this picture yesterday when water covered part of Interstate 20 outside Meridian. Traffic going both east and west was blocked. And these cell phone pictures were taken near the Cuba exit along Interstate 20 near the Alabama line. Again, you can see how much the highway was just covered with water after yesterday's heavy rain in Mississippi and Alabama areas. Veterans groups are putting the call out to volunteers who are needed when the Vietnam Traveling Memorial Wall comes to Meridian next week. The wall is scheduled to be on display at the East Mississippi Veterans Memorial Park from July 21st through the 24th. This wall is a smaller version of the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. A Meridian native is celebrating a huge milestone in her life. Helen Thomas celebrated her 104th birthday today. The celebration was held at the Children's Museum on 22nd Avenue.
I'm happy. My family's around me, and all of them are good to me.
Thomas celebrated her big day surrounded by her friends and family. Happy birthday, Helen. The 2024 Distinguished Young Women of Mississippi wraps up tomorrow. The event at the Evangel Temple Church features nearly 30 Mississippi high school seniors competing for college scholarships. These pictures of some of the candidates are posted on Facebook by the City of Meridian. The Distinguished Young Women of Mississippi program is run by the state and is now in its 67th year of celebrating outstanding achievements of the state's best and brightest high school girls. As Americans' faith in large corporations declines, more people are turning to small businesses and products made right here in the USA. Fox Business correspondent Grady Trimble is at a shop that sells American-made boots in Austin, Texas. He joins us with more.
Texas Traditions is one of the most famous cowboy boot shops in Texas, maybe one of the most famous shops in the whole world, and everything here is custom measured and made by hand. They call these parts lasts, and you can see some of the famous people who have come through these doors for a custom pair of boots. Arnold Palmer, Willie Nelson, Daryl Hall, Tommy Lee Jones. The list goes on, and the mastermind behind these cowboy boots is right over here working on a pair as we speak, Lee Miller. There's been a huge resurgence in cowboy boots. Obviously, they've always been popular in Texas, but what's changed in the last couple years that's made them really come back in style?
I think the people love the fact that it's American. It's an American folk art, folk craft. So they let cowboy boots have a certain kind of persona, casual, makes you feel confident when you wear them. I think it's all of those things that make people want to get a good pair of cowboy boots.
You have a 5-year backlog for your boots. Yeah. Not only is the cowboy boot business booming, but small businesses across the country are doing quite well, at least in terms of public confidence. A recent Gallup poll found that 65% of Americans have faith or confidence in small businesses, a lot higher than in big companies. Why do you think that is, as someone who deals directly with customers making custom boots for them?
Maybe it could be the fact that they're dealing directly with the person who's responsible for doing the work. There's not too many layers of them to get through. They just feel that one-on-one might be a better way of doing business. And so, it's very much customer service. You know, what they want, we do for them.
And you can see more of the process going on over there. If you want a pair of these boots, you want to be like some of these other famous people, or in this case, Lyle Lovett, he wears these on stage. They're going to cost you a pretty penny, but that is the cost of quality. The starting price is $3,500. Depending on the intricacies and the details in the boot, could run you up to $10,000. In Austin, Texas, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Congress is bypassing the bipartisan route on a defense funding bill. A plethora of GOP amendments ranging from abortion to transgender policy are renewing a culture war fight that could make final passage in the Senate a bit more complicated. Fox's Madeline Rivera has that story from Washington.
Cheers on the House floor after lawmakers passed the annual defense bill largely along party lines.
It was also an important victory for every American in this country that wants to see our military focused on our enemies abroad, not on wokeness.
The package, which authorizes funding levels for the military and other national security programs, is the latest flashpoint in the country's culture war.
This is the most conservative NDAA that I've ever had the pleasure of working with.
Hardline conservatives are celebrating after their amendments on several hot-button issues passed. With the changes, the $886 billion measure now blocks federal funds from being used for the military's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And most notably, it overturns the Pentagon's abortion policy, which covers travel expenses for service members looking to do the procedure.
The Biden administration has made it routine for a long time now to ignore existing law and the will of the people to push their woke social agenda in whichever way they see fit.
The legislation does include a 5.2% pay hike for service members and aid for Ukraine, but it's not enough to appease Democrats. They're accusing Republicans of holding what typically had been a bipartisan approval process hostage and putting the nation's security at risk.
In order to jam their extreme right-wing ideology down the throats of the American people.
The military is supposed to be the standard bearer of the values of this nation, and this bill would directly undercut that.
The bill faces an uphill battle in the Democratic-controlled Senate. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Your forecast is coming up after the break. Plus, UPS workers held a practice strike in anticipation of a possible nationwide strike. The fallout if a strike were to happen.